Happy Tuesday, guys. How's everyone doing? What's going on? How is your Taco Tuesday? All of that stuff. Let me know you're in the room tonight. We have a great guest tonight. One of our legendary dollies is coming to chat with us for an hour or so. Make sure you are sharing the live. Make sure you are logged onto the YouTube channel at Trinity at Let's Chat with Trinity Black so that you can catch up on all the 60 plus interviews we've done throughout the last couple, almost 2 years. How is your Tuesday? Talk to me, talk to me. You know, my guest is co-host is always late. I don't know what he's doing, but so yeah, what have y'all been up to? We have a couple of minutes to waste before we bring on our guest. Hi, let me know you're here. Yes. So, what did y'all do this weekend? Talk to me. What did y'all do this weekend? Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Let's see here. So this weekend was a happy folding. Listen, yeah, today is a holiday in the state here in Alabama. um, Big Montgomery Brawl that happened on the boat. So it's like this thing that's going around. So when you see people folding chairs and stuff, that's what that means. So they literally turned it into like a big thing here in the state. Thank y'all so much. I saw a lot of you are probably seeing congratulations in the comments. Yes, I went and got the title. I got my P. Yes, I am Miss People's Grand Madam. Um, it is a system that started a few years ago as a prelim to Black Universe, and they branched off last year, and this is the first year on the national level. So I guess you can say I am the blueprint, the foundation, if you'll say. Um, and so that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do it, because when you think of the first, you think of like Chili Pepper, or you think of Ginger Grant, or you think of Naisha at Universe, Fabian at Black America, you think of those girls. So me going down as the first crowned queen on the national level, that the inaugural queen, that means a lot. So we had a great time out in the Concord, Charlotte, North Carolina area. Um, and I was fortunate enough to win this weekend with Rico Chappelle as the Mr. Peoples and Amaya Glamazon as Miss Peoples. So it's going to be an interesting year for us. So I'm excited about that. You know, I competed. This is my third pageant. Listen, I don't do three pageants a year. I was doing one pageant every 3 years, let alone three a year. But I'm clear that God saw fit for me here at this particular system for whatever its reasoning. And yeah, so I'm excited about this reign. I am still, however, the Miss Duval Plus. So don't think that I am neglecting any duties over there. Speaking of Duval Plus, September the 21st in Jacksonville, Florida, please come out and support the Duval family. Please come out and support the contestants as well as myself. I think we have some guests. Oh, he wants to join us tonight. So yes. Oh, he did. I guess that wasn't him. But yeah, so come out to Jacksonville, Florida on the 21st of September. I will be relinquishing my title. Hi, Tasha. Shout out to Auntie Tasha, one of the icons. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Miss she won her prelim. I can't think of the name. Miss House of Jewels, MBU Graham, my sister Tayana Love. What's going on? There you go with that light in your background.
I'm just
How was your weekend? Talk to us.
it was good. I went to Charlotte, traveled to Charlotte, North Carolina, so I could support my queen as well as Kamaya, Amaya, Rico, Javon, Terry Savoy. Support the People's Pageant, and it was amazing. I actually enjoyed the pageant a lot.
Yes. It was so good to see, because you know you'll say I'm coming, and oh, work call duty calls, and I'm not gonna be able to come with, and you weren't answering your phone when I was calling, so I was like, oh, he's not
I
coming.
did that on
And,
purpose.
and so to see you there, that meant a lot. But yeah, thank you for coming to
There was
support.
so many people when I walked through. They were like, "Does Trinity know you're here?" And I was like, "I don't want her to know till she comes on stage."
I didn't even see you till I came around. I was like, oh, there it is. So yeah, we had a good time. I'm grateful for this opportunity. I look forward to seeing what is going to come of this. But tell us about what you have going on with Texas before we bring on our guests.
Yeah, so it's a lot going on. So Miss Gay Texas US of A 40th anniversary starts August the 20th. I am one of the four owners in the Texas Collective, Roxy Ross, Christina Ross, and Sherman Houston. But we own Mr. and Miss Gay Texas and Mr. and Miss Gay Texas US of A at large. And so we're just really excited because we have 21 confirmed formers that will be in the city for it, which is a big deal because since COVID, it's been kind of, wonky. So we're really excited. All of our VIP tables have been sold. So it's gonna be a party. Like Miss Texas is a thing. So if you're in Texas, if you're in Houston specifically, anytime between August 20th and the 22nd, make sure you check us out. We'll be at Crystal's for preliminary nights. That's on Wednesday and Thursday. We have the review show, and then we have final night of Miss Gay Texas US of A 40th anniversary at the ballroom at Bayou Place in downtown Houston. And we have a lovely reporter that will be on the red carpet, checking out the girlies, letting us know what they're wearing, and maybe finding out a little tea. But yeah, it's gonna
Who
be
is
popping.
that going to be?
It's gonna be Trinity Santiago Block.
Okay.
The Miss Duval, because she still will be Miss Duval plus,
Uh,
as well as the people's grand dame. So
yes. So I'm looking forward to coming back to Houston. I always like Houston. And then we're going to go uh, to the Battle of the Bands the next
Battle
day.
of the Bands. It's the next day.
Right. So someone wants to know, will Miss Texas be live streamed?
Miss Texas will not be live streamed by D West.
Mhm.
For legal reasons, he can't live stream that because of the you'll check out the history of USA. Donald Trump, when he was over the USA franchise, he actually put a lawsuit on Jerry Bird at the time, and so because of some laws there, the streaming laws are still there. But if someone streams it, they just stream it. Like if somebody goes live, they can, that's not a part of our pageant, so we can't control that. But it will be recorded, so you can purchase DVDs from D West. But it's gonna be amazing.
Oh,
It's
I'm
gonna be a battle. And people say drag is dying, but I always tell people, well, come to Texas.
hmm
Come
Or
to Texas.
Florida, or
Off, off Florida.
yeah,
Off Florida, but
it's
we
everywhere. It's
yeah,
everywhere.
it's I don't think pageantry is dying. I think some systems I ain't gonna go there.
Let's
But
not
yeah.
go. Well, but yeah, so other than that, I don't think we have any announcements coming up this weekend. Oh, I'm sorry. If you're in the Dallas area, want to travel to the Dallas area, please go support Alpha and Omega MBU prelim.
Yes.
This is one of the final prelims. I think it's only one left after this. And if you are a grand girl trying to compete, make sure you go to this one because the Chicago one, I don't believe is having grand. So
Oh.
make sure you are supporting.
So they have a grand on in Dallas? They have the grand
They
also?
do have a grand in Dallas.
Okay.
So make sure that you are there on Sunday to support Ava, Jada, as well as St. Laurent and the NBU family.
Yeah.
They were in the house this weekend. It was good to see Terrell supporting the peoples.
And don't forget
Um,
about the red dress run this weekend.
the Red Dress Run is this weekend. Gay Black Ohio is this weekend. We do have a couple of announcements. What I'm talking about. Gay Black
Oh
Ohio is this
wow.
weekend. Support Nikki as well as Kendall. They will be relinquishing their title.
Oh
So shout out
wow.
to Amari Lavish. He's going to compete. Um, so
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
It's a
we,
lot going. And then at the Red Dress Run, Darion, the owner of Mr. Gay US of A, he's co-hosting an event it's like a Red Dress Run pageant. Like a
Mhm.
that's
Oh,
that's gonna be
are you
popping. And
going?
I'll definitely be in New Orleans.
Okay, yeah, I'll be in. Well, the baby's christening is Sunday, so I won't be there.
Oh.
I won't be
Well,
anywhere,
I
but
won't
I'll
be.
be at
I
home with
leave
my
New Orleans
mom and
on
daddy.
Sunday. Shout out to my daughter Glam Crystal Smith. She will be competing on Sunday for preliminary to Miss Texas US of A at large, as well as Deja Opulence. And look, what's that cat girl name? What's her name? La Carla. La Carla.
So, would they be qualifying for this year's USA at large?
Texas it's a prelim to Texas US of A at large.
So that would be for 2026.
Yes. Remember, Miss Texas and Miss Texas at large are the first preliminaries to the national.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Miss Texas is the first preliminary to Miss US of A, and then Miss US of A at large is 2 weeks before Miss Texas at large.
Okay. Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
shouts out to everyone competing this weekend. Other than that, any other conversation we
Oh,
have?
that was a lot. I really that was a lot.
Well, you're not the most one that knows how to do it
Well, that's what
fast.
people say when they look at the show, they say it. But
Are you going to be? You know, you were very very rude when I won Miss Duval and had my crown. Are you going to be upset with me showing my people's crown?
no, I'm used to it now.
I need a curio, y'all, for all of those
Y'all,
crowns I have
Queen has
finished.
inspired me. I'm gonna do. I said that I was tired of pageants for a minute, but I'm like really crunk. Like I'm really excited.
Good for you. Okay.
Like, I'm really excited.
So you know we have been doing these conversations with our icons, legends, and as well as up and comings for about almost 2 years now. That's crazy. January will make 2 years. And so let me
Um,
tell y'all how this guest came about.
December. December.
January. Tasha was
Well,
January.
what time was
Well, we
this? Was
came, yeah,
January?
yeah. Thank you, Duval. So how we came about with this particular guest. I'm gonna tell the story, and however someone takes it is how they take it. I was having a conversation with Ava one day, and we were talking about Continental and Continental Elite and Continental Plus and how girls go and do all of them, like how Victoria LePage has been bold and Lady Kateria. And I said, well, I just feel like Continental Elite is for the girls who had aged out or were not fortunate enough to be Miss Continental. I didn't see a point or purpose for Miss Continental to go do Miss Continental Elite. And she was saying, yeah, I agree, especially if you go and you happen to not be victorious and someone that hasn't been wins. And so she was like, kind of like the situation with Courtney Van Wells and Tasha. And I said, girl, where is Courtney Van Wells? I haven't seen, because now mind you, when I first came out, Mama used to have the gowns. And she was so entertained. Like I knew who she was. I never met. I didn't meet her until Impulse Pageant. But I was like, where is she? And she was like, you see her all the time. She's on Facebook. She's Vancie Vega. And that's when you told me, when I asked you about it, I was like, you was like, yeah, she's Vancie Vega. And I was like, I knew that person looked familiar, but I didn't know if it was just the
Yeah.
characterizations, impersonation. So I was like, we have to get her on the show. And when I judged with her and met her at Impulse, she was just such a lovely person. And so I definitely want to talk to her. She's definitely owed her right to tell her story in this capacity in the industry, all that she's done. I have a message for her from someone that wanted me to give her a message, that knew she was coming on. So we don't want to hold her any longer because she is on tour and she has
Yes.
gave us a day off of the tour, and I'm sure she'll talk to us about that. So while we are at it, let's bring on our guest. And honey, she looks good in the wings, y'all. Give it up for the legendary Vancie Vega.
Icon.
No nails. Hi, everyone.
It's okay. We don't judge here.
I work with animals and chickens and dogs, and I never wear nails during the week. Hi,
Oh,
everybody.
how are you?
Hey.
I'm happy, or as my dear one says, blessed and highly favored.
Well, we just want to start off by saying thank you for giving us this hour or so of your time. We know you're a busy woman all over the United States traveling, but when I don't know if you heard the story I just said, when I found out, because I was like, where is she? And they told me that you had changed your name and stuff. I was like, yeah, I got to get her on. And then after seeing you at the Impulse pageant, I was like, well, when do you think that she'll take it? And he said, yeah, absolutely. So when we asked you, you were not hesitant. We had to change the
No,
date due to things, but we do thank you for giving us this time because a
absolutely. And
lot of people have inboxed us and was like, oh, she's going to be great. You'll love her.
it's funny you mentioned the name change because it's been over a decade, and
Yes.
I have just kind of forgotten about it, really. And people who have a history with me, like Wendell, they're family. So when people call me Courtney, that I know,
Mhm.
I don't have anybody can call me Courtney. It's weird that people I don't know call me Courtney,
Mhm.
but since I've been in Florida, I've talked about it a lot because
Mhm.
when I've been advertised or do the show, like for instance, Legends of Drag with Nima recently here in Orlando, they were like, "Well, Vancie Vega, isn't that Courtney Van Wells?" Like, yeah. So I had to kind of explain the whole thing again to people who hadn't been keeping up with what's going on. But
Yeah, we definitely want to get to that part of
yeah,
the story on down the
okay,
line. And
perfect.
so, but I definitely want to start off with something that we ask all, or we have began to ask all of our legends and icons. When you hear your name next to iconic or legendary, what do you think? What does that do to you?
It makes me think that I'm respected.
Okay.
That's the first thing I think of is respect. Because I've worked so hard. Actually, I worked hard twice. I had to work twice as hard as most people because I had built lost and had to rebuild my career twice. So when I hear that or something like Legendary, it makes me joyous that I was able to come back from the gutter, literally.
Got you.
Yeah.
Wendell, anything before we start? Anything you want to say?
No,
Yes, I can't see anything. I just see two little squares with like a fuzzy little
Okay,
excited
got you. Well, we're
little
here.
woman. Now
love
I
you,
can see you.
Vancie. Love you, Vancie.
Roxy Andrews this weekend was calling me Nana because I kept going, "Where's this? Where's that?" And she was like, "It's over here, Nana."
Okay, gotcha. Um, all right, let's go back from the
Let's do
beginning.
it. And I have no secrets. I
Okay.
hold no, there's nothing that and if I don't want to answer, I'll just tell you I'm not answering.
Okay, no problem. But let's start from the beginning. Before you even thought of putting on drag and becoming the woman that you are, talk to us about your upbringing, where you're from, what did you do as a child or teenager? Talk to us about, take us through the journey of life as an adolescent and all of that good stuff.
Okay. Well, I was born into a family of United Pentecostal goers. My
Mhm.
father met my mother in the seminary, the United Pentecostal Bible College. And so I was raised in a very strict, very rigorous household. My mom knew immediately that I was different. I mean, I would put my hair up in towels like she did. I'd put my little towel around. I'd wear my dad's t-shirts, like long, luxurious blonde hair. I was Whoopi Goldberg before Whoopi Goldberg took my shtick because I have pictures of me. I have pictures of me with white t-shirts on the freezer going like that. So um, they knew, but they just didn't know how to nurture a child like that. So
Mhm.
it was kind of tumultuous growing up. I used to tell my neighbors and the neighborhood kids that I was a girl growing up. So when I hit puberty, it was like World War III. It was just, I lived in Texas City, which is a very redneck, very conservative town in the Gulf of Texas, where all the chemical plants are. And so it became really unsafe for me in school and at home at the time with uh, with one of my parents' spouses.
Mhm.
And so I was getting it at school and at home, and it was pretty horrific, honestly. But I found safe places in girlfriends in school and their parents, specifically Jill Kelly. She and her sister Stephanie always would take me home after school to give me safe places, and their mom knew what was going on, and she always gave me safe harbor. And actually, she's passed recently, and it kind of
Oh,
was really hard.
oh.
Um, so after I would say about freshman year was as much as I could take living in Texas City with my dad. So uh, I moved in with my mom, and I was a summer of sophomore year, and I went to across the tracks to the Black High School
Mhm.
and ruled the roost. I very quickly became the only little white boy at like 3 long tables of black girls at lunch. They and I tell this story often and freely. When I was in this high school, it was the black girls, the African American girls there at school that protected me. They taught me how to fight. They taught me how to run. They taught me how to negotiate
Mhm.
and how to find how to feel if it's unsafe to
Uh-huh.
go away. So I had that kind of thought process very early, and this is before I got my driver's license.
Oh.
They would even go so far as to fight other people when I was being picked on, and they also withheld vagina. Groups of them would withhold vagina if their boyfriends got out of line with me. So I was very, very popular in Lamarck High School, and I danced in the pep rally with the drill team that I used to choreograph for. I did a football shuffle for the football team when I was in high school. And I went to school in drag for Halloween one year, and I was sent home by the assistant principal. She says, "No, your legs look nicer than mine. You can't be here."
Oh,
So she sent me home. Um, it was about that time, I would say my junior year, I found my first mentor named Miss T. I was, well, let me back up. When I was 15, um, some friends and I went to the gay bar in Galveston, Texas. And there was like maybe 10 of us, and we were huddled together like green beans in a corner. And we were just kind of looking around like this. And of course, it was so obvious that we were underage,
right.
but they let us in and we danced for a little while. Well, I was hooked. So I started coming back with someone I had met there that was young as well, and they had a car. So I wanted to, and he was a drag queen. So I wanted to figure it all out. And he knew how feminine I was. And he was like, "I want to do your makeup." This is when I was 15. And I said, yes. So he did my makeup, and I sit around for a little while, and his dog needed to go out. So I was done, and one of his like flowy dresses or what have you. So I went and walked the dog. I wasn't in like drag. I was in like this kind of like silky, flowy thing. And he just did me pretty, but he did my makeup. And the neighbors tried to started flirting with me when I was walking the dog. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. I can do this. This is the same guys who want to kill me are the same ones who want to have sex with me. What's going on?
Right.
So then I was really hooked. So I started sneaking in the bar. And I ended up doing a little amateur drag show when I was 15. And it was to Anne Murray's Snowbird. And I chose that song because my father was dating a woman who looked virtually identical to Anne Murray at the time. And I was just so in love with this woman. So I chose to do it. And it's still, to this day, one of my favorite memories ever. Then I got my license and started performing in different bars and in Galveston. Then someone threw me under the bus. I was no longer able to go. This was like I was 17 by then. So I went up to Houston, and that's when I started performing at Cousins at the time, and Lazy J and Exile 2. And Lazy J and Exile 2 were no longer there. And Cousins has had many variations and is now Barcode with Roxanne Collins. So I met my mentor, Miss T. T is in TEA. T is in Terry, because that was her given name. She was 6'3", probably like a cocoa almond colored skin. Of course, she was African American because that's just my gig.
Right.
My gig. I have always found more comfort and acceptance and love and being treasured more in my community than I have in other races within the community. And I think it's just because I was raised in it, and I have always been kind of an outsider. Even to this day, I have a hard time fitting in with cliques just because I'm so different.
Right.
But every time I go out, I'm always there, always like, "Oh, Auntie." So I digress. So I'm back to Miss T, and she was a professional ballet dancer, and she passed up an opportunity to work with the Joffrey Ballet for a man, and she always used that as an example to teach me not to do that. But she was best friends with Miss Coffee, who is my auntie, and I've known since I was 16 years old. And she mentored me. She would do half of my face and then make me do the other half. She would teach me a little bit of choreography or tell me what to do, but make me figure out how to do it. She was that kind of hands-on. And during this time, this is probably like 18, 19, and during this time I started to enter pageants. I won Miss Houston US of A when I was 19, 18, I think. And it was a huge scandal. And I had, at the time, you could change your birth certificate relatively easy with copy paper and whatnot, and you didn't have to have it certified at that time. So I just went and got a driver's license with a different birth year. So I won Miss Houston. I started to do some pageants, get top 3 at Miss Texas. And all this time, Madonna was being really popular with Vogue and Express Yourself and whatnot. And everybody kept saying, you look like Madonna, you look like Madonna, you look like Madonna. And so I started doing Madonna. And I would do her at pageants and whatnot. And it was a club called, I think it's Blur now, but it used to be called Miss Kitty in Houston and Montrose. And it was myself, Coffee, Tommy Ross, Victoria West, and some, the bigger names like that. It was a really hot spot for drag at the time. Mm-hmm. Tiffany August would come. It was that kind of place. So we had a Lacage type show where, and I can't remember his name, and I still beat my head against the wall trying to find it, but he was working in Atlantic City in an evening at Lacage, and he did half Lionel Richie and half Diana Ross, which is where LaWanda got the idea when she was working with Norbert as well. And he came to the show, and it was a bunch of us, and I did Madonna, and he said, you need to audition for Lacage. And I was like, for what? I'm 19. What the hell are you talking about? So he called me. I was living with my father, going to cosmetology at the time. And he called me at my dad's house and put Norbert Alamand, the producer of An Evening at Lacage, on 3-way. And we just kind of talked and laughed and chit-chatted. And he said, send me video. And if I like it, I'll bring you out for an audition. So Miss T choreographed some moves and helped me with my outfit and how to do, and my makeup and hair. And I believe if she didn't videotape it, she was staging and directing the close-up and out shots. And I mailed him the VHS tapes.
Right.
I'm a senior citizen. I mailed him the VHS tapes, and about, I don't know, a week later, I got the call to come out for an audition. And I auditioned, and I remember the whole cast sitting out into the audience. It was between shows. They did 3 shows a night. And the curtain opened, and there they all were, out of drag, but you could still see Diana Ross, Bette Midler, things like that. So I was doing my thing. I remember distinctly doing the Running Man down the stairs and then back up the stairs doing the Running Man. And they lost their minds. The whole cast, the dancers, everybody stood up and screaming and hollering. And afterwards, we were all walking down, going down. Larry Edwards, of course, my darling auntie, was working there at the time. And he and I were walking with Norbert, and we were going down the escalators into the hotel. And they said, well, what do you think? He goes, I want you here by the beginning of the year. And that was in 89. And I moved to Las Vegas in 1990.
Okay. Gotcha.
To Madonna.
So let me back up and ask some questions for you.
Sure.
Number one.
I'm a talker, so you got to interrupt.
No, you're fine. You're just fine. You're just fine. So when you went to the school where you were embraced, just by any current, are you still connected to some of those women, or?
I am.
Okay, great. Okay,
I am. I absolutely am. Yes.
Do they come out and support you?
Two in particular. I was just Dolly Parton at one of their daughter's engagement
Oh,
party where I did the bachelorette games and things like that. It was just a
okay.
lot of the party. And so I was, again, embraced and all of that. And her kids love me. Uh, and then my other girlfriend is a traveling nurse. So
Okay.
she does, residencies. So I don't see her
As much.
often, but I see her online all the time, and we love
Okay.
one
Gotcha.
another. Absolutely.
So you in the club sneaking at 15 and 16 and getting in drag and all of that. What is your dad's, what does he know? Does he know what's going on?
At that time, at first he didn't.
Okay.
No one knew at first. And then when I started performing and people were picking me up, like my friend who did my makeup would pick me up, and I just, spend the night, the weekend, what have you. Because at this time I'm old enough to be trusted to leave and, do things
Okay.
like. And but eventually it became pretty serious. It became, I was getting booked and making money at it. So, and then I had a car of my own, and I had to kind of figure out where to get ready. So I just kind of was forthright with my family,
Uh,
and they were pretty okay with it because I had
Oh,
already gone through the whole I'm gay thing, and that was a freaking nightmare.
okay.
My father was raised. He literally rode a donkey bareback uphill in the snow to go to church on Sunday, and that is literally not an exaggeration. That's how poor they were. So he wasn't used to that kind of thing. So it took him a moment to come on board.
Okay.
Got to let our parents catch up, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when the first time he saw me come out in his house, when I was dressed, I'll never forget it. And I turned around and I said, "How do I look?" He goes, "You look just like your mother."
Typically how it is. Typically how it is.
And my mom and I just talked about that recently, that
No.
she thinks I look like my mama.
Okay. So when you're doing the shows and you did your first pageant, your first show, and now you're on the Koch, was your name Courtney Van Wells, or were you something else
In
first?
Las Vegas.
No, before when you got to Las Vegas.
When I got to Las Vegas, in the drag community, I was using Courtney Van Wells.
Okay.
But in Las Vegas, you don't use drag names because the premise is men impersonating famous women.
Okay.
So Vance was my given name.
Okay.
And so it was Vance. And then he and I, Bear, the producer, kind of knocked some stuff around. And um, and we came up with Vance Holiday.
Okay.
Like Madonna's Holiday. Yeah.
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 So from the time that you first stepped into that gay club at 15, sneaking in the huddle, to the time you got booked for Las Vegas La Cage, would you have done anything differently now that you look back? Or do you think that it was meant to be how it panned out?
I have to say, it was, even though I was in high school and I was more welcomed and accepted, by that time the various abuses had already been hauled upon me for over a decade in
Uh-huh.
that marriage. So I was already really broken when I got to
Okay.
my mom's house. And at this point, nobody knew what was going on. So I, and I'm incredibly intelligent, and I pick up stuff incredibly fast. So now we know children with divergence, such as myself, they need to be stimulated and challenged a lot,
Okay.
because my thing was I would master it like algebra, master, and then
Uh,
get bored because I'd have to wait on everybody else.
right.
And then I would be the class clown and cut up and goof off and get in trouble, and then I'd get attention. So it was kind of a vicious cycle.
Uh,
So it was kind of I think what I would do differently is I would go to school. I would go to college. I would get a degree of some sort.
do you happen
Uh,
to know what you might have gotten that degree in?
It would either be, or I would either be ordained, or I would work with children,
Okay.
like I kind of do now, anyhow. So
So, with you being raised in that,
And I'm a minister, so I'm ordained, so I'm both.
right? With you being that's my next question. With you being raised the way you were raised, Pentecostal and all of that, faith based. At any point in time, did you kind of question your faith and your belief because you were going through so much, or because you now are living this life that so many people, talk bad against, abomination, whatever? Did you ever question anything about your faith?
You know, I remember distinctively going to church this one time, and I had bleach blonde hair, and I was going to church with my mom and sisters, and we had an evangelist there preaching, a guest. And he said, "Does anybody want the Holy Ghost?" And I came down and I raised my hand and I'm praying and all. And he's like, "You got the Holy Ghost written all over you." And I knew this because I'd had the calling for years.
Right.
Uh, but he then said, "You got a bad habit." Talking about gay.
Mhm.
"You need to let that go before, and his first sentence was, "I had the Holy Ghost." And then the second sentence was, "You're going to hell."
Right.
So I never questioned because I knew how I felt.
Right. Okay.
But what it did was keep me away.
Mm.
And when I ended up going to Las Vegas in 1990, when I met my first partner, I got the calling again.
Okay.
And I started doing a lot of independent studies. When I worked at Boyd Lask, I left Pageant and went to Boyd Lask with Kenny Kerr in 1991. And when I did that, we had vast amounts of time in between shows, and I would study and read about the time, this current, and it was just for years I did that. So
Oh.
I have a lot of knowledge about biblical times and what meant what, and things of that nature. So it put a lot of things into perspective for me, and I was able
Okay.
to heal and forgive.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
And now I have very real conversations about spirituality and the universe, and divine love and all that with my parents and people who were so ready to dismiss me.
Gotcha. Okay. When do you have anything before I move to the next
Yeah,
section?
I do. So I'm curious to know about your first time competing for Miss
That's
Houston.
not a big switch.
Well, she hasn't switched yet. But I'm curious to know, like, your first time competing, you were very young. So, and I know in that time, competition was very aggressive. So how was that experience for your first time at Miss Houston, US of A?
Well, my very first pageant was Miss Harris County, that a local legend, Jill Jordan, who has since passed, God love her. My mother, Miss T, was a former. A lot of local legends in Houston were. So that was the first one that I won. And then like a week later was Miss Houston. So Miss Houston was definitely the first nationally recognized pageant. That experience was exhilarating and it was also hurtful. And I'll explain. I was very young, very full of energy, had made a little splash on the scene. And it was my first pageant. I didn't really know what I was doing. So I had a gown that was an undersea scape, and it was all rhinestoned, but about a quarter of the bottom was not beaded like the rest of it. So it was not done, but it was gorgeous. And I wore it and wore it out because, even then, evening gown was my favorite category. But for talent, I did Blue Zone with Lisa Stansfield, a song called Jackie. And it was real dancey and real upbeat. And the dress I was wearing, because I was dancing so hard and I had so much energy, they were just going crazy. It was at Rich's, and they were just crazy. It was so exhilarating. But my costume the dress kind of kept coming up and showing you my undergarment, but I had a black panty on. So I was tied with someone, and I can't remember what her name was. Nikki, I think. I think her name was Nikki. And it was a tie, and three. I think it was three guys and two drag queens. The drag queens voted for Nikki, and the men voted for me
Mhm.
because of my talent. number. And the drag queens literally left the pageant that night. And now, as an older, seasoned veteran, I would have sided with the drag queens, but I digress. I won, and the first thing I hear when they rushed the stage was to the girl, "You didn't win because you're black." And I went, "What?" Because
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't understand that at the
Yeah.
time, because my whole existence was in the black community. So that was really confusing.
Was it Nikki Foster?
I don't remember. She was a Studio 13 girl back in the day when Miss Coleman was around, and I can't remember, but she was a trooper. She loaned me a gown from Miss Texas.
Okay.
So she didn't have anything against me. We were friends. We performed together at the Studio 13, and I was always there with my aunties, and because I kind of went from high school to the Studio 13.
Okay.
So I went from cis women to trans women
Right.
to be my mentors and aunties. So she and I hung out all the time.
That's good.
So that was my first experience. It was exhilarating and hurtful.
Oh. Let me ask you this, because you just touched on a little bit of it. Because you were embraced by the Black community, African American community, and it switched over from high school now as an adult in the LGBT community.
Mm.
What backlash do you think, or can you remember, that you might have gotten? Like, she wants to be black, or why she?
I never heard that.
Okay. I just want to know if you ever had dealt with that.
Because I don't change my vernacular. I don't change the way I dress. I don't change my music preferences. I don't try to propagate a community. I'm just part of a community,
Okay, gotcha.
I've never really, that I remember, ever heard anything like that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Good.
Maybe a couple of, "What's she doing here?"
Yeah. Fully accepted. Okay.
Until you perform.
Or lately, after my facial feminization surgery, "Who's that ally?"
Yes. So before we go into the segment about get to know you a little personally with your favorites, talk to us about, now you're in Las Vegas at La Cage, the ups and downs, pros and cons of being on that massive showcase. How was that for you?
So many memories, so many stories. So it was my first time in Las Vegas when I got picked up by the car, and it was just so overwhelming. It was back, the dunes was still there, the Sahara was still there, all of these iconic hotels were still there, and it was like a movie. It was overwhelming. The sensations were overwhelming. The lights, the sounds, the ding, 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 just everything. It was like being in like this fantasy.
Right.
So already I was just enthralled. And I continually hung out backstage after rehearsal and would watch the show and just kind of hang out because I didn't have friends. And not realizing that once the show starts, you have to be there from 6:30 p.m. until midnight. You cannot leave from backstage, and it's 3 shows a night, 6 days a week, and it's literally like 200 square feet, and that includes the bathroom.
Oh.
It's really, really tiny, and you're up on top of each other for 6 hours a night, and it's not just me, it's Madonna, it's Dolly, it's Cher, just in one station, and then there's Hot Chocolate next to me, Larry Edwards, Tina, Patty, so all of these different personalities are in one confined area. Most of the time it was fun. Larry and I, Hot Chocolate, we just laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and cut up and laugh because we have so much history. We have so many people that we know intimately that we were just able to do that, So he was a great sense of comfort for me when I was at La Cage. And Steph McCall, who did Dionne Warwick.
Mm-hmm.
I was young. I had already started doing drugs at the time.
Okay.
And So it was a progression. You just kind of keep going wherever you are. So I continued to do drugs, but it was short lived until I met my partner out there. And then he was like, "You want me or the drugs?" So
Right.
I gave up the drugs. But um, I did have, oh, I'll just talk about it. I left Lacage. So what happened was I went from Lacage to Boylesque
Mhm.
and from Boylesque to Lacage,
Okay.
right? And then from Lacage to Boylesque, and then from Boylesque to Lacage.
Okay.
Like every 6 months, I would go from show to show. And that is because of trauma.
Oh.
Basically, we can go into depth about it, but we'll just call it trauma.
Yeah.
Wanting to fit in, not finding what you need in a situation. And it wasn't until the third time I was at Lacage that it kind of came to a head. I was working with Kelly Michaels, who was doing Madonna, and she was showing her ass some way, and they were going to suspend her. And I got really upset because I knew if they suspended her, I had to do Madonna and Dolly because I was doing Dolly at the time. And I got really, really pissed off. And before I knew it, I just hit my mirror and it shattered. I cut my hand and it started bleeding real bad. Hot chocolate screams. The Michael Jackson was in the corner going, "Oh my God." So I made an exit from Lacage at that time, and rightfully so. I mean,
Right.
I needed I needed to be diagnosed, and it
Okay.
wasn't many, many years later that I was. So I loved it. And when I worked at Boylesque, I loved it so much more because Kenny Kerr was like a parent to me. He took me under his wing. He taught me how to MC, how to sing, how to joke, how to sing, talk, and tell jokes, how to quick responses, how to have a catalog of comebacks and talking points in your spontaneous monologue. Very important things that
Mhm.
an entertainer needs to have a multifaceted brand.
Mhm.
Um, he taught me confidence. I ended up being the guest host of Boylesque at the Sahara Hotel whenever he would go on vacations, which was a grand and great honor for me. But when I left and went back to La Cause the last time, it really damaged our relationship because it hurt him so bad. And
Right.
honestly, I had no reason to leave. I was just um, you know I didn't have any structure. I didn't have any lessons on how to be professional and to sit still and things like that instead of, and it seems to be an ongoing thing that has happened uh, a lot of my life and career is instead of people saying something or intervening, they just watch or they just experience. And I
Mm.
found that to be true, especially when I was devastatingly addicted to cocaine. People didn't want to get their hands dirty. So Vegas was a blessing, though, because I met my first partner and he moved me home to be closer to my family. And then I transitioned.
Okay.
So it all walked hand in hand.
Got you. How long were you in Las Vegas going? How long was that whole journey for you when you were
From
doing?
90 to 94.
Okay. Oh, so for a while. Got you.
Yeah.
All right. So we have a segment where we want to get to know you personally, like some of your favorites. So let's take some
Do
time to do that. Favorite color?
it. Lavender.
Lavender. Okay. Lavender. All right. Favorite food to eat? What can you eat all day, every day if you had to?
Mexican food.
Okay. Me too. Me too. Growing up, favorite television show if you had one?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Okay. Is that some? Was she kind of your expert? You did you aspire to be her?
I don't
No.
care who I was playing with. I was Wonder Woman or we're not playing. Period. I'm
Favorite
not
place to
Drusilla. You could be Drusilla. I'm not going to be the dude in the cat in the hat. No, I'm not going to do that.
favorite place to visit?
My mom's house.
Okay. All right. If you could live in any decade or relive in any decade, which one would it be?
The 50s.
50s. Okay. So that leads to my next question.
Well,
Who?
there's an
Go,
explanation behind that.
no,
50s
go
are
ahead. Tell
clothing
us.
and style. 50s are the
Yes.
clothing and style. But
Okay.
happiness, where I am now, I don't want to live in another decade.
Okay. If you could be best friends with any celebrity, who would he or she have been?
Dolly Parton.
Okay. Have you met her, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
I have many stories.
Yes. If you could change anything, three things that you could change about yourself for the betterment that you could think of right now.
That would be a full head of hair, vagina, and 6 kids.
Oh, wow.
Six.
Okay. Okay. Um, what is something that we don't know about you that you
I
don't
don't
mind
drive
sharing?
with shoes on.
I'm sorry.
I hate shoes and I don't drive with shoes on.
Oh, okay. That doesn't like hurt. Does it feel funny, basically?
I don't like shoes.
Okay, gotcha.
I hate.
um,
I like to be grounded so I can
okay,
feel.
okay. I heard
I'm
you are an animal lover. So if you could come back and be an animal, which animal would you be?
a dog or a
Oh,
horse.
a dog or a horse. Okay, gotcha. Well, thank you for that. I want to
More. That was fun.
I want to take some time out to I know that you said you're open, and I
Anything.
want to take some time out to just talk about your drug addiction and your traumas just for a second.
Sure.
Because someone you may be watching this and may
Yes.
be going through something, and that's what we have
Mhm.
these conversations for, because you never
Um,
know the mending or the healing that someone may go in. So if you don't mind opening up about how it might have started, what you might have went through, and what it did to you, and where you are now with
my
everything.
first mentor, Miss T, introduced me. She came from a trauma as well. She introduced me to the bathhouse and cocaine.
Okay.
A great combination. From that, I had my first overdose at 18 and was then put into rehab by my family. And I've been in and out of rehabs until 2012. And that's a long time, from 1989 to 2012, to try to stay sober off and on. I didn't always do drugs. I kind of stopped there for a while and had gotten time before. And like I said, when I moved back from Las Vegas and I won Miss Texas in 2001, after moving home from Orlando when I was working at the Parliament House at the turn of the century, I was only smoking marijuana. I wasn't drinking. I didn't do hard drugs. And I remember distinctly being in Greg Henderson's hotel room and they were passing a bag around. And it came to me and I just passed it on and asked for a marijuana cigarette. Um, and then sometime between winning Miss Texas and the first 6 months, someone convinced me to do a bump of cocaine. And within 6 months, I went from not doing cocaine to staying up 4 and 5 days at a time. And not just doing a little bit and going about my day. It was like hardcore, line after line, 8 ball after 8 ball for days at a time. I had my adult entertainment company, and I was making hand over fist money peddling trans porn. And it paid for my addiction. So at the end of Miss Texas, I had been up 6 days: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Monday, Whitney Page and some dear friends of mine and my partner at the time took me to St. Joseph's downtown and had me committed because I was out of my mind. And after that, I was ostracized from pageantry, from my community, from drag, really. And they all started making fun of me, talking about how horrible I was and how pitiful I was. And look at her, she can't do this and that. Meanwhile, half of them helped me get to that point. They were accomplices in that. But of course, they're not going to stand up because they're still actively doing what they're doing. Still, some of them today are doing the same thing they were in 2001 when this happened, and which is really sad when you stop and think about it. So again, as I was saying, I was left to fend for myself. So after that, I went really downhill. I I at one point was walking around Montrose in the different various bars. I had long greasy hair. I still had a full beard, and it was like 3 or 4 days worth of beard growth. And I had like 34 triple D boobs. Not a really pleasant sight. It was really scary, honestly. People would move away from me. It was so scary. And I would go and I would beg for money and get hundreds of dollars from people and then just go get drugs. And that went on for the better part of 4 or 5 years. And then I started to try to get sober. I didn't want to live like that anymore. But at that point, nobody wanted anything to do with me. Nobody would help me. My family had walked away. Friends, relations, anyone who was ever in my life basically just turned their backs on me. And I would try to go to AA, the gay AA in Houston, and they kept trying to make me prove that I wanted to be sober. And it was really down to 2 people, Julie Hollingsworth and Julie Cunningham, my therapist and my sponsor. They literally kept me alive for years and years and years and years and years. They would pick me up, take me to institutions. They would put me in the hospital. They would get me dried out. They would make me come spend the night, and they would put me in therapy. And they were the ones who really, really kept me alive. And I just kind of, it wasn't like I had a major overdose. I've had several, and I flatlined a couple of times, but this particular time, I literally saw the other side. And that's a really long story, but I see it today like it was, like it just happened. And it changed me just enough to, my ship changed trajectory, and it was just enough to make it kind of go the other way. And it was just kind of one day I just woke up and was like, I'm not doing it anymore. And then I would try it and it would not work. And I gave up cigarettes because I woke up and realized that, I didn't like cigarettes, but I was still drinking. And then in 2010, I moved to Jacksonville to work at the Metro under the agreement that it was a zero tolerance facility and I would be safe. And I was safe from cocaine working at the Metro. Jerry Rosenberg, the owner, he really helped me in that respect. I have a lot of respect for him for going above and beyond and protecting me in that way. But there was certainly alcohol. So I switched back to alcohol, and it got really, really bad. I would wake up and not know where I was. Well, continue forward to 2012 when I did get sober. I moved back to Houston, and I got a house in North Houston. And I was still drinking, but I was working in Galveston. I lived in North Houston by Kirkendall, which is a good 30 minutes north of downtown. So I worked in downtown, would drink, then I would work in Galveston after that show and drink again. And I would be in a blackout driving all the way from Galveston, an hour and a half, 2 hours back up to my house. And I would wake up naked sometimes in my bed with clothes strewn. Sometimes my car would be open. Sometimes the steering wheel would be sticky. And I'm just like, oh my God. I didn't know what happened. I didn't know who was I with. I just kept blacking out. So I just was like, I cannot do this. In that 1 year, I was in like 6 or 7, maybe even 8 hospitals, rehabs, and institutions. And a lot of them I put myself in just because I desperately needed to get sober. I needed it at that point. I had to have it because I was going to die or go to jail. So I started trying to abstain, not very successfully. And then one week, and I would say, I think it was June 2nd of 2012, Tasha Long. It's been so long and it just hits me.
No, it's totally fine.
Tasha Long came in on tour and stayed with me, and I took her on tour, and I started to get sober. She held my hand when I vomited. She was there when I drank and was regretful the next day. She just was there. But she had to go home after a week. And luckily, the day she flew out, Tommy Ross flew in for her tour. And just as she got there, I finally got it. I was able to not drink. That week with Tommy, I screamed, I cried, I begged, I pleaded. I fell down on the floor thrashing. I had withdrawals. It was horrific. And she never left me. She never left me.
Wow.
And I've been sober for 13 years now.
Wow. That's amazing.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I know that it's emotional and tough, but I know that someone is watching and or will watch and will definitely take that story to heart.
So
Um,
if it wasn't for my Julies, Tasha, and Tommy, I would be dead. And that's the honest truth.
so we want to say thank you to Tasha and Tommy for
And I
stepping in.
do every year.
I
So
have a question for you,
go ahead.
Courtney. So first off, thank you for sharing because that's courageous by itself. And to think that I knew you at the latter part of all of this, and you never know what someone is actually going through. But what is it that you think keeps your engine running every day? Because when I see you now, you are completely opposite of when I met you. But I just always saw it as you're just a grown ass woman now, like. But what is it that keeps you going now?
One thing that I don't regularly go to meetings, but I do when I need to, and that's a whole opinion thing. So I don't want to get into that. But what it did teach me is to do inventory all day, every single day, even as simple as when I call somebody a fucking bitch because she got in front of me on the highway. You don't know if that lady's a bitch. She might have not have seen you. She could be having a bad day. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm sorry, girl. You're rude, but you're not a bitch. Okay, you fucking rude, but you're not a fucking bitch, and that's progress. Okay, that self-inventory, that's keeping yourself in check. I highly believe that life is a diving board, and your divine love. If I embrace my divine love and my Christ consciousness within me, and I listen to my GPS, it will keep you from falling off too soon until you get to the end of your diving board, and boop, then you can dive off after having a full life. That's what self-inventory does. It helps me keep focused on what's important. I don't live in fear. I refuse to live in fear. I don't care if they're breaking down the door to come and get me. I'm not scared because I know who I am. I know what I am. And I know that I am fulfilled in Christ consciousness. And that's how I live every day.
Oh, you just taught me something. Just learned a lesson there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Christ consciousness. I love that. Yes.
Let me
Which
let me just
what
hit on the
Christ taught us how to be like him.
Yes.
right.
Not
Let
to
me
worship him, but to emulate him.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me touch on a few things with that story. Number one, where do you think this stemmed from with your addiction? Is there any one particular thing, or was it a combination of things that you may be aware of, or was it just
What do you mean?
Did anything happen? Was it just you were around certain people?
To
Peer
begin my
pressure?
addiction?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Well, I was already my grandfather was run over outside of a bar. My grandmother died from complications of alcoholism. My mother was adopted. Her father was a chronic alcoholic. So there's alcoholism and addiction all through our family on both sides of the tree. So I
Mm.
was already predetermined to be really a hot mess.
Okay.
So it was easy for me to pick up those addictions, like
Oh,
when I was a prostitute, it was more about love addiction being accepted. Whereas if I'm doing drag and doing cocaine, it's more about not feeling and doing cocaine to be in those environments.
okay.
So
Gotcha.
it just, when I was Miss Texas, it was just kind of being around the environment for a while and kind of like a stone, kind of like the Grand Canyon in a river being
Mm,
eroded after a while, and if you're going to hang out in a barber shop, you're going to get a haircut eventually.
yeah.
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 That's a
So
great
That's
that's
a
a
I
good
got
great
analogy.
way of looking at it.
I didn't just get a haircut, I shaved my head.
Right.
Yeah.
When you look back at the times that you were going to the bars and you were greasy hair and beard and people were laughing at you and turned their back on you, those people that may be still around, still alive, still in your proximity, wherever you may be, do you hold grudge or have you given those people grace and moved on?
You know why I don't hold grudge? Because I know what it feels like to be like that.
Okay.
Mm.
Not everyone is capable of being divine love.
Okay.
If I have my own demons and I choose to continue to sleep with them decade after decade, I liken drug addiction to sleeping with the devil.
Mhm.
And if you want to suck the devil's dick every weekend in your 50s and 60s and 70s and not make any other choices, then you have made your own bed. So I don't feel sorry for you, but I can empathize with you. And it keeps me sober watching you continue to do what you're doing to yourself.
Mm.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So with
I
everything
can't
that you went
forgive.
through, oh, okay.
If I don't forgive and really understand why people the way they are, then I can't be fulfilled spiritually. How can Aunt Vancie share divine love if I'm not willing to be divinely forgiving?
Yeah.
Mm, that's a good word. That's
Yeah.
good. Um, have you embraced that clearly you have a purpose here with everything that you went through?
Yes.
Okay.
I was
What do you
just
think
talking,
your
I had lunch with a pastor today
Mhm.
and we were talking about things like this. Yeah.
Okay.
So
What do you think your purpose
I've
is?
had the calling to ministry several times. So
Mm,
it makes me who I am.
got you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. I definitely wanted to talk about that because I
Yes.
know that that's a part of your story and journey, and someone definitely needed to hear that.
Um,
We have another game. I'm not sure if you watch, but we do it. It's called Name It and Claim It. So what
Okay.
we'll do is I'll give you 10 words, people, place, thing, maybe something, a title, a pageant, and authentically, you give us the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear that word, person,
Okay.
place, or thing. And you kind of you can elaborate on why you chose that word for that specific person or thing.
Okay.
So the first word or person I'm going to do is Whitney Page.
Mommy.
Mommy, okay. Tell us about your relationship with her.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry again.
We love it.
Oh God. I got a call one day from Alan Gelman, who used to who used to own This Week in Texas after my cousin died, because my cousin used to own it. And he said, Courtney. I said, yeah. He goes, you know who was asking about you the other day? I said, who? He goes, not a goddamn soul. That's just how he was. He goes, you know Whitney? I said, yes, sir. I work with Whitney often. He goes, well, she needs a ride to Miss USA, and I know you're going. This was when Maya won up in Ohio. And I said, yes, sir. I could use the gas money. So I went and picked her up. And it was me and her in the front seat and Calexis in the back seat, Calexis Davenport. That heifer slept the whole.
Was she
She did not.
snoring?
drive. She didn't want to buy food. That bitch slept the entire 21-hour trip. So anyway, we drive up. By the time we got to Ohio, she was already my mother. She had already claimed me. And that weekend was when it started to kind of develop. I had already transitioned. Tandy Andrews had given me a basket of hormones and shots the same time she gave Erica hormones and shots, and a basket of Crabtree and Evelyn stuff. So I was already transitioned. Mommy wasn't at the time, but she had those big old knockers and whatnot. And I remember her distinctly going, "Where's my child? Where's my child?" And it had been so long since someone claimed me like that, because Miss T died of cirrhosis of the liver shortly after I got to Las Vegas. And we would talk often. I would call her, "Hi, Mommy. Hi, baby." And we would just talk. She was like my mom. I would just talk to her about stuff I couldn't talk to other people about. She gave me advice all the time. The one piece of advice she gave me that I know to be true, beyond a shadow of a doubt, was, "You can't count on nobody but yourself, baby." Right. And that is true.
Right.
True.
Okay.
And because I was getting ready for a pageant, she says, "You can't count on nobody but you."
You're right.
With those big old eyes.
You're right.
I would stay with her. I would stay with her and Michael and Dallas all the time. All the time. She would give up her room and she'd sleep in the drag room and I'd sleep in her bed. Or she taught me modesty, not to walk around in duct tape, but to put a robe or a dress or something on, Okay. She gave me my name, Courtney Page Van Wells. It was nice. I remember the day. She was also a big supporter and a supporter of me getting clean and things like that. She didn't really know what to do, but she did the best she could. And after I got sober, everything was fantastic. And when she won, when we were competing together, I was with Denise Michaels and Greg, my son Gregory Goods, and we were by the exit waiting for crowning because Elite was the next day. And we were just waiting, and they said, "Your winner, Whitney Page." And this, I don't know, it was almost like a wave of light, a heavy, heavy wave of light just went whoosh from head to toe. Look, I'm sweating now. I got flop sweat from the story. It was just like a wave, and I immediately thought, I'm gonna win. I just knew when she won, I knew I was gonna win. Well, let's just be quite honest. I won both pageants preliminary night. I can say that in humility and humor, but it's true because it was a really boring preliminary night in Continental that year. It was horribly boring. But she won finally because, everybody changes during finals and all that. And not me. I hit them with both barrels both nights. So I knew I was going to win. And then the next night when I did win, I just was almost unconsolable. And there's a picture of her holding my face. And as she was holding my face, drying my eyes, she goes, "I'm proud of you, sweet baby." And then she looks at me, she's like, "Now get it together, you're a Page."
Yes.
I went, "Yes, ma'am."
Oh, goodness. Shouts out to Whitney. Okay.
When
The
they
eyes
told
of
me,
Texas.
when I got the call, I was in San Antonio. When I got the call that her body was shutting down, that I needed to go to the hospital, I was driving from San Antonio. So I had, a couple of hours to prepare myself for the inevitable. And I knew. But when I got there, and David Bridgman, when David told me what was going on, that it was time, that mommy was shutting down, I lost my composure. I lost control. It was just, these sounds were coming out of my body that I had never, ever heard or experienced. It was just like a shrill of, it was like a cat being skinned alive. It was just awful. The pain was just excruciating. And I've never shared this story, but just a handful of people, close people. But when I had my moment with her, and we were alone in her room, and I was petting her and talking to her, sharing my experiences of overdosing and seeing the other side and how peaceful it was and how she would not hurt anymore.
Mhm.
She came to, and she raised up in bed toward me, reached for me, and then flopped back down in bed. And then she was not there anymore. But I knew that she heard me, and I knew that she didn't want me to go because she was scared.
Gotcha.
And then after I left that, I had to be Continental Elite by myself. And it was so hard. It was so hard. I literally felt abandoned by Continental during that year. I never got calls from any promoters, anybody checking on me. I was just kind of left to flail. And as a matter of fact, after Whitney died, I wrote every single promoter in every single division and asked them, please fly me in. I'll work for free. I just want to promote the division. And especially since Whitney's not here, and, I wanted to be a page and, just be there. Not one promoter wrote me back. Not one promoter wrote me back. In fact, when I did my give up, when the curtain opened for my last walk, there were like 5 people in the audience. The entire baton was by the bar. Can you imagine what that felt like when I came out?
Oh my goodness. Oh.
About 2/3 of the first song, they started trickling back over. And most of them came back over, respectfully, but it was pretty devastating, I have to say. It was pretty devastating, yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't really treated well by a couple of the promoters. They were just kind of rude. But I'm not for everybody. And who I was at that time, I had just started cleaning up my career. I was still building back, and being second runner-up the year that Continental, right before Elite, when I won, it was the first time I'd had any respect in years. So I understand, but it doesn't make it hurt any less.
No, not at all. Okay. On a lighter note, number 2,
Yeah.
what's the first thing that comes?
I'll call it out.
Oh, I know, clearly. Madonna. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear, see, or think of Madonna?
Las Vegas.
Okay.
The first Madonna in Las Vegas in 1990.
Oh, okay. Did she happen to ever come see you, or have you met her?
She did not, and I have not.
Okay.
No.
Is that a goal to meet her?
Well, right before I moved to the answer is no, but right before I moved to Las Vegas, she came, the Blind Ambition tour. She opened her U.S. leg at the Summit, which is now a church in Houston, Texas. And downtown Julie Brown was having a live outside of the stadium. So, and I was dressed as Madonna. My friend was dressed as Sandra Bernhardt. Michael. Hi, Michael. So we saw her filming. So I said, yeah, we're going. So we went up, and she looked us. She went just like that. She brought us in, asked who we are, where we're from. We talk. And of course, I'm talking like this because I'm just, heck, with no culture at that time. It was awful. But I looked just like that heifer. And we went inside after that, and all of her dancers came out to meet me after They met me at the entrance of the Astrodome. They all came out because they saw me on MTV. So that was a really big feather in my cap. So I was interviewed that week at the Houston Chronicle about being Madonna, about what I'm going to wear. It was a whole series, the whole week. So she clearly knew who I was.
Right.
They called, her people called the house I was staying at and said, we're having a press conference. We want to invite Vance because Madonna's going to be there. Oh, he's asleep.
Haters.
What?
Oh, he's
Haters.
asleep.
Haters.
Oh my goodness. Like you couldn't wake up. Jesus Christ. Okay.
We needed cell phones back then.
Homosexuals.
Okay.
Now that one, I forgive is subjective.
Uh-huh.
That one I have a hard time overlooking because that was just intentionally cruel.
Right.
Yeah.
Were you
But
really asleep though?
I've had brushes with Madonna, but not actually meeting her. It's not really a life goal. I don't have any with celebrities. The only celebrity that's really ever made my heart drop was Demi Moore. And that was only because I was training and working for the family and training the dogs. And when she walked in, I wasn't expecting her to walk in.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. So what's the first thing that comes to your mind? I know she's one of your impersonations when you see, hear, or think of Joan Crawford.
Misunderstood.
Okay. Do you think that has anything alignment with you?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. If you want to know what Joan Crawford was like, you need to watch Harriet Craig. That's how she actually was. The director took a lot of her own life things and put it in the movie for her. But she was something else. Don't get me wrong, but she was nothing like the movie. Nothing like the movie. Well, I would say nothing. I would say maybe 30% of what the movie said she was. She was a hot mess, and Hollywood spit her out and chewed her and used her up. But yeah, she was very misunderstood.
Okay. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of the night you won Miss Texas USA?
Chevelle.
Okay.
Chevelle Brooks, because she crowned me. And I was, we do the arc here, and I was over here, and Chevelle was over here, down, like up on stage, and she's down over here. And after the first runner-up coming, all I can hear is, she laughed, and looking at me and laughing, and of course I'm bawling, crying, and she's hugging me and laughing, and so that's what I think about Miss Texas is Chevelle.
Okay. Dolly Parton, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Career.
Tell us a story about Dolly.
I told her one day, I said, thank you for my career, Mama. She goes, well, thank you for my career. So she likes to see pictures of me and video clips and things that I'm doing. So I'll send them to her team. Like Steve Summers is a dear friend of mine, and he is her artistic director for Dolly Parton Enterprises. So he does all her homes, her buses, her everything, clothing, all of that. They do everything. So I'm really good friends with them. So I will send him pictures, and like if I'm doing a Dolly show and I'm like 1, 2, 3, and everybody goes, "We love you, Dolly." She loves to see stuff like that because she loves her fans. So I send her stuff like that, which is really neat. And when I go to Nashville, sometimes if they're not too busy or too swamped, I will go to the sewing shop where they make her costumes. And I'm under a walking NDA, non-disclosure agreement. So whatever I see and hear or witness, I cannot disclose. So I sometimes get to see things they're working on, or just go visit because they're like family. I've known them. Dolly brings the right people together, and I'm not friends with them. I'm friends with them because of Dolly, but I'm not friends with them to get to Dolly, if that makes sense.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, Dolly, I feel like I'm already friends with Dolly because I
Right.
know I'm really good friends with the family, and 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 I am because I'm genuine. I don't use them for anything. They're my friends, and I do her respectfully with authenticity, and I uphold her image.
Okay. Okay. Have you ever been asked to maybe come in where maybe she had been filming to be like a stand-in or
No, I'm too big.
oh, okay. Okay.
I'm long, tall Dolly.
Okay. Long
I'm too
tall.
tall. I mean, she's knee high to a grasshopper. She is like she's probably 50 pounds soaking wet. Honestly, she's tiny, 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 tiny.
Okay, gotcha.
She's
Okay.
really tiny. But I do know her body double.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Um, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think
I've
of
been in
Craig?
her closet.
Oh, you've been in her closet?
Hmm.
Okay. Craig Henderson, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Daddy. I was his only child.
Okay.
I was running the streets at 16. I had my cosmetology bag in the back seat, all kinds of drag in the trunk, and my passenger door was bungeed together because, you know, I'm running the streets doing God knows what at 16 years old. And after I won Miss Houston, actually, I had met him just before that, and I can't remember how we met, but I got into that whole group with Diane Michaels, Craig Henderson, Bubba McNeely, Jimmy James, all that crew.
Mhm.
So he was kind of already my dad. I stayed with him. I basically lived with him, honestly. And he fed me, he gave me cocaine, he took me to the bars, you know, he was just my gay dad.
Mhm.
And we've had a really tumultuous relationship. I mean, we had some pretty horrific knockdown, drag out fights, but we always found our way back to one another because there was love.
Okay.
There was
Love.
love.
Okay. So this person she watches the show every week. We had actually interviewed her before, and she inboxed me and she said, and I quote, let me read it.
Okay.
She said, I love Vancie. She's my shero. She's so courageous, so talented. Thank you for interviewing her. So that's what she had to say about you. So what do you have to say about Flame Monroe?
Ah! I love you, Marcus. Seriously, my favorite human being on the planet.
Okay.
My favorite human being on the planet. And I'll tell you why. Because she speaks truth. She gets so much flack and hate from so many people. And I'm just like, why? Because she knows she has a penis? Because she knows she can't have children? Because she knows she's going to have ovaries? What's the problem? To me, that's not problematic. To me, that's just honesty. You know, I never understood being so some kind of way over someone else how they view themselves. What the fuck business is it of yours? So I applaud her, and I think she's very, very brave. And we think along the same lines, which is probably why I got canceled in San Diego. But Marcus Flame Monroe has been a dear one. I met Flame through Tasha Long in Chicago when I was sharing a bed with Tasha in her studio apartment in Chicago when I was special guest at the Baton. And we were like the Three Musketeers, honey. We would go, oh my God, it was just so much fun. I miss and love her so much. And I'll send her sometimes little messages of encouragement, how proud I am of her and how much I love her and all that stuff. See, that's another person that understands that I'm friends with Flame. You know, I've never asked for a ticket. I don't want to meet this one or that one. That's my Judy. So my feelings and pride are for her, much like they are for Dolly's, you know, nieces and cousins who have success, that kind of thing. So seriously, my favorite person in the whole wide world.
Shouts out to Flame. We love Flame over here.
We
Um,
do indeed.
Tommy Bubba McNeely. First thing that comes to your mind.
Jimmy James. Or actually, the first thing that came to my mind was, girl, that thing is horrible. I used to do Jimmy. I used to do Bubba all the time before it became popular. Let me see if I can get a good one. Girl, that thing was absolutely horrible. Sweet cheese. Girl, pass the cocaine. It's been so long since I've done it because his famous one was, don't do me. Our families grew up together in the United Pentecostal Church.
Oh.
Very, very, very close. Our families were very, very close at one time. So he called me Sister Holly, which is what my family name is, and I called him Sister McNeely. Our friendship, like, we didn't hang out and go party together like he does, like he did other people. He was absolutely closer to a whole group of people than myself. But I had a very, very special relationship with Bubba that was private and unique and different than the other ones. And I'm really sad that I missed his celebration, but I'm being on tour. It was just too much for me to come back and forth.
Totally.
And I deal with death differently than most other people, though. I'm okay with death, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Coffee. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Auntie, legend, love you, support you, do anything for you. Absolutely. I met Coffee when I was 16 outside of Miss T's apartment. And Coffee got out of the car and said, who's that? Talking about me. I was a cute little white boy girl. I had big old butt, like big old round butt. You could actually put a shot glass on my ass with $1 and I could waddle away and it wouldn't go anywhere. Wendell, you remember? You remember my big old butt, honey, before I lost it. So Coffee gets out of the car. She goes, who's that? And Miss T goes, oh, that's my child. That's Courtney. No, what's his name? She goes, oh, that's Miss Vance. So my mother used to call me Miss Vance. And she goes, oh, you fine. Let's remember. And I was like, I do drag. She goes, I don't care. Twice the wardrobe, honey. She tried to see me up the first day she met me. And we always, talk about that and pick on each other. But I love her so much. That's family. I just went and saw her recently. I want to send a shout out to Auntie. Hi, Auntie. Mwah. We just went and spent some time together recently. And I'm looking forward to getting back off the road so I can see her more often.
Yes. I have a bonus one before I ask the last one.
Okay.
Because he always want to be seen and heard. So what's the first thing, it's a two-part question. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the photographer Tio, and what's your favorite promo that you've done together? You know he want to always put his bid in every time one of his girls is on.
The first thing I think about Tio is perfection. Maybe perfectionist.
Uh-huh.
I've only experienced, well, that's not true. I have experienced a photographer recently that has similar energy and makes you feel some kind of way. Mm-hmm. But Tio, and so many people can vouch for this, there is no other person in my 40-year career that I have ever sat in front of that has given me the energy to give back to them.
Yes.
The direction.
I agree.
The direction, the energy, the yelling, the cussing,
bitch,
calling you names.
Bitch.
Arch your back, you fucking bitch. Yes, arch that back, bitch. Yes. So all of that.
Yes.
That makes you.
Yes, it do.
Girl, get up in a pretzel for you, honey. He just has a way of making you give him what he wants. And I got chills everywhere.
Yes.
I have never experienced that ever from anybody. It's addicting, really. My favorite promo ever is anything from the Maryland series.
Okay. So anything from the Maryland series. So Tio, find one and post it tonight.
I have several. There's
Okay.
one when I'm in my Continental gown and I'm at the edge of the bed and I'm looking like this, and he put all this air tape, grand stuff behind me. I'm like, and this Ashley Iman had just
Yeah, she had them pulled you back.
baby, and I was this big around. Oh, it was nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, Shouts out to Tio. I'll be seeing you soon. And lastly, what is the first thing that comes to your mind or you think of when you understand your sobriety?
You have to give it away.
Mm.
You have to give it away. You have to give away your warts. You have to give away your crowns. You have to give away your rage, your anger, your understanding, your compassion, your not wanting to be bothered. You have to give it all away
Mm.
to
Gotcha.
your enemies.
Okay.
That's where you grow. You have to give, and this goes with anything in life. Unless you are willing to give divine love to people you can't stand,
Mm.
never grow. You'll never
Mm.
succeed what you want to succeed in. And if you do, it will not be long lasting because your heart is not made from divine love.
So y'all hear these jewels that are being dropped. We are learning lessons tonight.
I got plenty.
So when you say you have
And
to give it
fancy.
all, when you say you have to give it all away,
Say again?
when you said that you have to give it all away, right? Is that a pivot into how you became now Vancie Vega? Talk to us about
No,
that. Okay.
no. It's
Okay.
completely different. Has nothing to do with that. I
Okay.
was
Okay.
I started to really become known for, I've always been known for Dolly Parton in one facet or another, but not really anything serious
Mhm.
until I started getting gigs outside of Courtney for Dolly. So one day I was in East Tennessee at my favorite place in Knoxville at Club XYZ. Shout out to the girls. Hi, ladies. So I was there on Friday as Vancie Vega, no, as Courtney Van Wells as a
Mhm.
guest. And then
Okay.
the next day I was Vancie Vega as Dolly Parton. And it just became very confusing. And people were like, well, aren't you Courtney? So professionally, I made the decision as a brand that it needs to be one name that can be multifaceted because Courtney Van Wales is just kind of here. And I need this.
Okay.
So Vancie Vega is an actress. I've done movies, stage, television, cabaret, impersonation, drag. There's too many things for me to be Courtney Van Wales.
Okay.
So Vancie Vega, which is my legal name, makes professionally the most sound sense. And
Okay.
also, Courtney Van Wales has a really, I've forgiven her and I have a lot of love for her now, but she's still not somebody that I want in my immediate circle for very long. I don't appreciate the path that she took me on and what choices she made and how she allowed negative entities and experiences in my life, and I just want to be rid of her.
Yeah.
That's respectful. Accountability. I like that.
But, and then again, when Dale calls me Courtney, Tommy calls me Courtney, people in Florida family calls me Courtney.
Mhm. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's how the name came about. Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
So let's these next 30 minutes, let's talk about drag. Because
Let's
that's
do
what it
it.
is. So Dita Cass was on a couple of weeks ago.
Love her.
She loves you. And
Yes.
she said something that was interesting. She said, that B, I'm sure in a good way, um, you didn't play when it was time for pageantry.
Girl,
And
that
you,
bitch.
she felt as though you had been one Miss Continental, but because of things you were doing,
Yeah,
they held it from you. Do you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that.
Okay.
I think in a lot of my career, the choices of either a partner or friends or drugs, circumstances, or it goes back to people watching and not intervening.
Mm. Okay.
not
Okay.
intervening. I had a frank conversation with Erica Andrews one year. Everybody used to pit us against each other, but we were actually really good friends. We're littermates, like we have the same, tranny mama.
Right.
Um, but she told me one day, frankly, that the reason nobody wanted to help me is because of my choices and the people I was hanging around. And it goes right back to, well, then it's a little too late for that now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this was, after I got sober and all that stuff. So
Right.
it absolutely, yeah, choices make, there are consequences to every single choice. Every single movement has a consequence. It doesn't mean bad. It just is a consequence. Good,
But
bad, or
but but as someone, as an entertainer or someone that's spending your money and your time to be these titles, do you feel that that's fair to you that you all are hindering me from a dream, a goal, or desire because of my personal life?
no, I think it's, what was the question? Do I think what?
Do you think that that was fair to you or
Hell no,
anyone?
I don't think that was fair. You know that's fair. That's
Okay.
some bullshit. That's
Okay.
some faggotry, is what that is. That is, we're going to lead you along and to continue to do what you're doing with you on the down low, and
Mhm.
then just let you come back because you're a draw and people want to see you win. But you're not
Right.
going to.
Right.
But
You're not
but
gonna win because you
well,
don't have proper help.
can I piggyback off of that though? I think back to when you talked about winning Miss Texas, and you talked about how within the first, I want to say 3 or 6 months, how you were met with a lot of drugs, right? How you were
Everybody
reintroduced.
wants to party and give drugs to Miss Texas. It's just a
Right.
fact.
So I say that to say, do you think that maybe had you won some of those things that you probably rightfully should have won, but you were not mentally and emotionally ready, do you think it probably would have maybe spiraled even worse or ended because of the positioning that you would have been in because you were not mentally and emotionally
I wasn't on
prepared
drugs
for it?
until I did Miss Texas, and I had been competing in pageants for a while.
Mhm.
Hmm.
A while.
Mhm.
But I think that when I got serious, like for instance, when I went back, when I got sober and went to Miss Continental, I was still suffering from the same
Yeah.
historic decisions because people don't want to
Let go of past.
let go of the past. Now that's why I have a hard time in Texas. Honestly, I have a hard time in Texas. There's not enough work for me in Texas. There's over 200 entertainers in Houston alone and like 2.5 venues.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. Everybody my age,
Hmm.
everybody in the bracket that I'm in, they have their own shows. They're locked in.
Mhm.
I'm on the sand on the beach waiting for the ship to come back in like everybody else is. And
Hmm.
I think a lot of that might have to slightly do with my history. I think people don't I think subconsciously people don't realize that they have that lingering opinion
Hmm.
because of history and they've seen me and known of
Hmm.
such horrible things.
Subconscious.
So
Yeah.
when I've gone and come home hand over fist, but when I live here, it's a different story. I don't
Yeah.
get the respect that I deserve. I think
I
that might
agree.
be a gross overstatement, but I'm seeing things in my mind and it makes sense to me.
Mhm.
Like I've applied for jobs as wait staff for different bar venues, restaurant venues, because the drag wasn't enough. And they didn't even entertain my resume. And when I tell you that my resume is golden,
Mhm.
golden. So
Mm.
it comes back to, and I'm talking about
Yeah.
restaurant and managerial, because I'm a manager, is what I do on my personal life. So it's really hard. And I'm 54 years old, and I've had to go on tour since last week of May until
Wow.
the end of August just to catch up from the disaster of moving back to Texas to be close to my family. It's been really hard. Really hard. I'm
Wow.
like, I'm 54 years old. I'm a fucking legend. And I'm still having to stress out like this? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So, do you think that in this day and age, well, I think we all know that drag has definitely significantly changed. What do you think is the issue? What do you think is the reason of this shift, pivot, or change that
Because
we
it's
see?
an over influx of young entertainers who are plug and play.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
a lot of them are fierce,
Mhm.
fan freaking tastic. They're so inspirational. I'm like, you have to, I want to paint like, oh, where'd you get that? And I'll paint like you. So it helps me move forward and not be stagnant. But 200 entertainers, most of them, under 35, most of them under 30, hungry, ready, and it's just, there's so many that there's not enough work for everybody in specific places, in certain places.
What's
Yeah.
your take on RuPaul's Drag Race?
I have a lot of friends who have gone through it.
Would you ever entertain it?
Hell no.
Why?
I don't need it.
Okay.
I don't need it.
Do you
I'm
think
not going to put myself through scripted BS and be cut in any old kind of way just because you need me to fill a role? I'm not doing that. It's not a drag competition anymore. It's just a reality show.
Gotcha. So with that,
I don't need it. I'm already at Vancie. I'm Vancie Vega. I'm Courtney Van Wells. I don't need it.
So with that, do you think that show hinders drag or helps drag?
I think it does a little of both, honestly. I think that it helps drag in that it can show individuals in a really positive light. That shows that we can be professional, that we can be, worthy of the status that we have. But it also can hinder because I want to say everyone thinks they can do it, and they can, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. Or I'm stumbling over my words here, but I think that it hinders it in the fact that it has made it sometimes impossible or a lot more struggle for certain girls with an economic class to do what the others are doing to keep up. It's become incredibly expensive trying to keep up with the Joneses. Now, I have an overwhelming amount of talent, so I can rhinestone a stretchy jumpsuit and it can be a costume.
Right.
But a lot of girls, they have to spend a lot. I'm stumbling over my words, but I have a meaning I'm trying to say, where I do think it is good in the fact that it's gotten exposure, positive exposure, but I think that it can be negative, and it certainly does divide our community, and the fandom can be rabid and very, very vicious.
Got you. A lot of our veterans, seasoned girls, icons, legends, feel as though when they hit a certain age, they're not getting booked as much, or they feel as though clubs or venues don't want to see them. Do you agree with that, or do you think it's just okay?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
And now I'm hearing things like seasoned girls shouldn't do young songs, new songs. Bitch, what? Have you lost your mind?
Right. Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think
it's like it's a category you have to fill?
And you don't want to be in the box. Right.
I'm sorry, but just because you can death drop and swing your legs around does not mean you can dance. I'm 54 years old and will do circles around you at any given moment. That's dance. So it wears me out. It wears me out. I feel some kind of way about it because I know what I bring, I know what I look, and I know what I'm capable of. So to be discriminated of and be a victim of ageism, it's shocking. It's shocking. But it happens all the time.
Yes.
All the time. There's categories now. You have to be this, this, this. There's a dancer. There's an older girl. There's a beauty queen. There's a naked girl. I mean, it's just like, and then there's a drag king spot. And then drag kings, they still don't get the respect they deserve. So it's a whole thing.
Would you like to be on a cast, or do you appreciate touring more? If you had the option.
I like the idea of being on a cast, but I have a mouth and I am very opinionated and I say what I feel, and a lot of people don't like it. Okay. A lot of people want you just to assimilate, and I'm not one to assimilate. I'm an individual.
Uh-huh. So,
So, and
with
I make more money on the road. I make more money on the road. Honestly, unfortunately, it's true.
do you think that you saying how you feel, your mouth or what you just said, do you think that has hindered you from getting into certain doors and certain places?
Sure,
Uh,
sure, but that's okay because you saved me the trouble.
uh-huh.
I don't want to be anywhere that you don't want me to be because I'm not going to have a good time and give you my best.
Right.
Yeah.
And you close
Um,
that. And look at here. There's a window, a door, and a set of French doors. How you doing? I'll see you. Girl, boo.
real
It's
quick.
the lack of drag and being counseled in different communities. It has really pushed me to have a cabaret act, to work in Provincetown, to work in Puerto Vallarta. I would never have gone international if I had not got canceled in San Diego. It would have never happened, ever. But now I'm in a movie. I have an international cabaret act. Girl, thank you.
Yes.
And I don't have to be around foolish.
What? Real quick, she just came in the room. She want us to let you know, know that she's here watching now. Flame is in the room, so shouts out to her. um, why
I
did you get
love
counseled?
you.
Why did you get counseled in San Diego,
My
Vancie?
mouth.
Oh,
I started working at a restaurant there and they were never really accepting. You know, I'm a little older. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. So I was never really invited to do things. Plus I had a partner and I'm, you know, I have a mouth, and if the dressing room looks like a garbage can, I'm gonna have a problem with it. If
uh,
you're drinking and doing drugs at work, I'm gonna have a problem with it. If you're getting drunk at work and screaming at the top of your lungs about politics, I'm gonna have a problem with it. You know, and it just I don't hold my tongue. I'm not hateful. I'm never hateful. I'm
right.
always kind and loving, but I'm different, and I'm not for everybody. And I thank God every day that I'm not for everybody.
While you're talking
What
about the
happened
mouth,
was I was told by the Grand Dame Mama Bird of San Diego that there were no resources for me in San Diego and that I was a threat, a conspiracy theorist, and I was a danger to their community. Not our
Oh,
community, their community. And I think it stemmed from me leaving this restaurant when I was I was in a conversation with one of the entertainers, and they were talking about, and one of the girls was registered Republican, a girl of color, a person of color, and she and her mom were, and we were discussing it, and one of the drunk girls got really drunk and just started being hateful, and I was like, and I told the girl, and I said, it's okay. This is why sometimes people leave different parties. And I was just trying to be supportive. It got into a huge thing. And I ended up leaving the restaurant because it just got really, really bad. And just, having my own thought process and having my own opinions. And it was about the time the whole it was a couple of movements that were going on. And this was a couple of years ago. And it actually kind of shocked me because I'm not really a confrontational person instinctually. So, but like I said earlier, I know who I am. I know I have a penis. I know I don't have ovaries. I know I'm not a woman. I'm a transsexual woman. There's a difference. So they'd have a major problem with that, and I would see something online that looked odd to me, like it was supposed to be a commentary on fashion and weight when it was a large person wrapped really tight in leather twine,
oh.
and it was just, and I was like, what the fuck is this, I'm older. I don't know what the hell is this. And I got just literally land blasted online from it. Just land blasted. Like I'm some horrible monster for having my own opinion. And that's where it started. And then after that, it was just, you're not welcome here. So I don't go.
All right. Well, look at you now, everywhere else.
Honey.
What is your
I
relationship
love
with?
them. Let me just say that
Uh,
I have no ill will to any of those amazing people in San Diego. San Diego is the reason I moved to California. The
mm,
people of San Diego fucking rock. It was just about four or five individuals that are in this Mean Girls clique that controlled and booked the whole city. And
gotcha.
they're the ones who ousted me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
But to be
Um,
honest, I was never really welcomed. One day I said, "Hey, I've got Disney tickets. Who wants to go?" Dressing room full of people. What happened the next Monday? They were all at Disney, except for me. So that's what I had to deal with
yeah,
in California, in
gotcha.
San Diego.
Um, you
Mm.
talked about it earlier during your win, and you were not in, didn't go to prelims at the end of the night. Your give up, you were felt disrespected, and all of that. What is your relationship with Continental now?
I don't really have one. I love Jimmy.
Okay.
Love Jimmy. And when I see him, it's like no time has passed. I saw him at Texas Continental when I was judging, and Scott actually crowned me, and let me give up my 2004 step down because I was just so out of my mind back then. So
Right.
I have a bittersweet relationship with Continental. I'm
Uh,
going this year to go dress Miss Texas. So I'm going to be there. It's like I don't have animosity. I don't have bitterness. I just have some residual sadness, if that
mm,
makes sense. So I haven't gone back for a walk. I haven't gone back to watch or anything like
right.
that. It's too expensive and I'm super busy.
Mhm. Okay. Well, that's that.
I
You
have a
know,
question about that.
go ahead.
Uh, um, well, not about that, but about that. Did you ever have any backlash the year you received first runner up at Continental when you were like you pretty much went live to just pretty much vent about the situation in the dressing room and it was like hot, it was like really bad circumstances. Did you have any backlash of that, or was it received well?
I don't remember, but I don't remember. But how could it have not been received well when it's the truth?
Yeah.
How are you gonna get mad at me for telling the truth?
Right. Right. Do so. You say you will return. You know animosity. You are
Yeah,
returning.
I love Continental. Are you
Mhm.
kidding? If I was still in pageant mode, I'd go back to Continental and try to win. But I'm retired and I don't have any desire for that. But you know, I don't question anything
Mhm.
today. I don't question anything. Everything literally happened when it was supposed to happen at that time for something in the future.
Yeah.
Or it was a culmination of something that happened in the past because we choose our own destiny. Every decision, every door, every adventure takes us on the path of our lives. So
Mhm.
every thought, every word creates our world. So that was the world I created at that time. And the bittersweetness of it, I will always have equal feelings of fierce love and letdown. And those are just emotions. It doesn't mean I like or dislike, they're just feelings.
Just reality. Yeah.
Reality, yeah. So
You
I
you
love them. Still in my elite group. I talk all the time with my girls, and I keep up with Continental online and all that. I was just with a whole group of Continental girls in Orlando. So I'm Continental till the day I die.
right. Absolutely.
But I just sharing my experiences.
Yeah.
When it comes to the drag as a whole, where do you see it going now? Do you see it expanding positively, or is it taking this declines?
I think it's taken a weird turn.
Uh-huh.
It's really it's just different. As an old guard, uh, we of a certain age have been afforded the opportunity to learn a lot from the new girls, as well as they from us, those who choose to ask for history, herstory. But I think it's taken it's like this weird trajectory where it's I don't know how to explain it. It's just different. Just different. There's so much of it that
Yeah.
it's not as the value of it, the entertainment value of it, the getting ready to go see a show because there's only one that week or something like that. You know, there's not four in one day.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
So, you know, I literally can go and do drag all day long. So the nuance of it is gone. There's
Gosh.
no excitement around it. Now it's what star is going to be there? Who can we bring in and pay more than our local girls who do twice the work?
Yeah.
Do you
And
True.
it's like that now. Yeah.
do you think social media has a big part in that?
Huge part of it because there are so many entertainers who are allegedly internet stars, but then can't back up in person. Here's the thing.
Very true.
Drag you can learn online and do it in your bedroom and be amazing. You can look sickening, but if you don't know what to do between taking dollar bills, you're not doing drag. You have to be able to sit down in that song and feel the breath, the beat, what she's thinking, how she's feeling, or he. You have to be that song.
Uh-huh.
Not up here floating around, splitting your legs, flopping back and forth, popping your hair, and then taking some. That's wonderful entertainment. It's wow, I love it. But can you do anything else?
Can you?
Can you? And
Um,
it sounds a little like I'm bitter about it, and I'm not. I want everybody to have work.
right.
Seriously, I want everybody to have work. I'm simply saying it's different.
Yeah.
The nuance of it, the genuine, the uniqueness of it is gone.
Mhm. So these last questions we always ask our legends and icons. So the first one would be um, the new girls. Give me three up and coming, not necessarily just they don't have to be newer, but just not in your generation. Girls that you feel will have longevity in this industry. Who do you like? Who do you see it for? Who's doing it
Lucy
right?
Paradisco, Hannah Santana. Oh, let's see. Hold on. Adriana LaRue.
Yes.
Okay. Those are some
Yeah.
that you like. Okay.
Those are my Houston girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any particular ones that you might see on the road that you like? They don't have to necessarily be Houston.
Let's see. Uh, I don't really
Pay
retain a lot. I have to be really honest. When I recovered from my cocaine addiction and when I started my recovery, because I'm always in recovery, um, I melted my brain quite
attention.
literally. My short term memory, non existent.
Uh-huh. Gotcha.
Non existent. So there are a lot of girls that I like, but I can't remember their names.
Okay. That's
One in
understandable.
particular, I will tell you this. I just worked with it. She lives in Orlando. Her name is Mystery.
Okay. Okay.
Mystery. Ah, you caught me off guard.
No, it's fine. Well, shouts out to her
It's
and all the ones that you
really
see.
fun.
Okay. Okay. When you, I know you, well, one of the questions was, what's next for you? Will you be competing again? But you said no, that you're retired from competition.
I've made
But,
the jump to the other side of the table.
right. So with you making the jump, take us back. Is there anything that you may would have wanted to have been that you didn't get or didn't try?
Yes, Miss Continental.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this.
It used to be USA, but they're on the decline. So,
Okay. So let me,
and I love you, Wendell, and I think you guys are doing an amazing job of turning the ship around. But as far as national for USA, I could never
why is that?
because shit travels downhill.
Mhm. Okay.
there has been too much going on with the higher ups that have just sorry. I was going to go back to USA Classic.
Mhm.
Never got return calls, never got prelim
Mm.
dates, never got anything that I needed. And then just the inter turmoil of the directors and all of that, and websites not being up, and all of
Yeah.
that. I don't have time for any of that.
Okay. Got
So
you.
that's actually when I decided I'm completely done and retired. Yeah.
How do you feel about this new thing that's happening at Continental with honorary Continentals?
I think it's about time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think it's about time.
Mhm.
Honoring those who have sacrificed and given their lives to that
Mhm.
community. I think that they deserve the adulation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got you. Got you. Um, who are the four ladies or gentlemen that you would put on your drag Mount Rushmore?
Oh. I think I'd have to put Marsha P,
Mhm.
Okay.
Divine, Chili Pepper, and Hot Chocolate.
Okay.
What would your children say about you?
That I am nurturing, loving, and non-judging. My kids can come to me, and my grandbabies, actually anybody can. I'm
Right.
I am always, I answer emails and messages all the time for people I don't know,
Mhm.
because Aunt Vancie is for everybody.
And Vancie is for
I
everybody.
love it.
I'm gonna start calling you that now.
Yeah, everybody has. It started with my nephews. I would take them to venues when I was raising my nephews. For a while, I would take them to award shows and venues and shows, and they would come to work with me. And so they would always call me Aunt Vancie. So it started at F Bar in Houston, and people started calling me Aunt Vancie. And then I did a little podcast, and it just kind of grew. And now everybody calls me Aunt Vancie.
Got you. If you could describe your life in its totality in one word, but no explanation why you chose that word, what would that word be?
With no explanation,
No explanation.
just one word.
One word.
Just one word.
It can't be she's a bad mama jamma.
Well, we'll take that.
One word would be divine.
Okay. Divine. Let's talk about redos, regrets, anything that you wish would not have happened or anything that you wish would have happened throughout your entire life from beginning to now at 54.
Well, I mean, I think the obvious answer is I wish I would have never tried cocaine.
Right.
But
Okay.
more than that, I wish I would have. There's a few. I wish I would have finished school and gotten a degree.
Mhm.
And I wish I would have listened to Kenny Kerr when he quite literally begged me not to do adult films.
Okay.
I wish I could go back and listen to him.
So, two parts to that question. Number one, do you feel that you can't go back to school? Is that not an option, or you
Oh
just
no, I can go back to school. I'm a
okay?
registered behavioral therapist now. I can work with autistic children. I have a
Okay.
degree or a certificate for that. But um, I I am fulfilled in what I do when I work
Okay.
with kids and animals. So I don't need a degree. I have that covered. But the regret for the adult stuff,
Mhm.
I really do regret that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Was
There,
that something that you were
when you go
forced to
as
do?
Miss Texas, when I was Miss Texas and I went to registration for Miss USA and my layout in a magazine was being passed around, that's pretty embarrassing.
How did that make you feel besides embarrassed?
Well, I put on a front and just laughed about it and was showing people myself because I mean, what else are you going to do? But it made me feel, I guess it made me feel triggered because I stayed high on cocaine the whole week.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Was that a situation you were forced into or voluntarily did?
I think that I was forced into it in that I was abused for so long that when you are shown acceptance, pseudo acceptance, you are
Yeah.
shown that somebody cares about you and wants to show you attention, and you become a star and people have adulation and want you in some aspect, then what choice do you have when you're that broken?
That makes a lot of sense. Vancie Vega, your legacy. What do you think it will be when you're long gone? Or what would you like it to be?
My love. Love for children, love for animals, love for people who need help. Just my divine love.
Okay. Does that also tie into what is your passion?
It does. My passion are kids and animals. Absolutely. Yes. I've walked away from drag many, many, many times. I did it when I was in California when I worked with high-end celebrities and all that. And I've done it for children. I've done it recently for animals in Houston. So I am it's absolutely who I am.
Now, I'm gonna back all the way up. You said
Do it.
something. You said something when we were asking you about 3 things that you could change, and one of those things you said was a vagina.
Was what, dear?
A vagina.
Oh, yes.
Is that something that you still desire, or you have moved
Now,
on?
when I said that, I meant naturally.
Oh.
I meant naturally. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And I
Gotcha.
have wonderful doctors that are ready to go on that journey with me.
Mhm.
And I'm not really disgusted. It's something that I love the opportunity to do, but I meant organically.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
I told you 1 hour, but you have given us 2 hours and 1 minute of
Are you
nothing.
serious?
Yes.
Nothing but jewels and great conversation, transparency, honesty. I learned so much about you. But unfortunately,
that's wild.
We can't get your entire life story in an hour or 2 hours.
No, we're going to today.
Yeah. So is there anything that you want to touch on that we may not have asked you? Anything you want to clear up? Misconception? Anything you want to let us know about? Anything?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Just because I have opinions does not that those opinions and experiences don't come with judgment. They don't come with judgment. If it was something that was done to me, for me, against me, with me, I have no judgment because they're only moments. They're not a lifetime. They're a moment. And if I put too much stock and emphasis in a moment, then I lose my present being. I love everything that has happened in my life. I treasure everything that has happened in my life. So I don't have any animosity to anyone or any experience. Even the overdoses and flatlining have created the ethereal light being and light worker that I am today. And I would never want to change it for anything.
Wow. Wow. So this is a new question. You'll get this first question. This is the first time asking this question.
Hour 3, let's go.
We've been doing this since for almost 2 years. January will be 2 years, and we've interviewed quite a number of icons and legends. But I don't know if you watched them all, which I don't expect you to have. But who is someone that you think story needs to be heard? And if we have talked to him or her, then you have to say another person.
Danielle Hunter.
Okay, we have not talked to Danielle Hunter, so
that lady has a story.
Okay,
we just discussed her though. You just brought her up last week.
I did just say I wanted.
She is also one of my absolute favorite people in the entire planet.
Okay, so if you happen to
literally lay down my life for that woman, I love her that much.
So if you happen to have a conversation with her soon, let her know that we would love to have her, and I will be reaching out to her soon.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Where can people see Dolly Not So Dolly?
The Not Dolly Show. All of my dates are always on my Instagram. I am Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. The Not Dolly Show. Or if you can't remember that, remember hashtag not Dolly, and you can find me anywhere.
Okay.
And we're working on a new website that will be up soon that encompasses all of my different aspects and facets. So
Just off of the top of your memory, I know you said that that's not always the best for you. Do you think you'll be in Nashville anytime soon, or is Nashville
yes,
on the
I'm,
tour?
I'm supposed to be in Nashville in October. I'll be in East Tennessee the weekend after Knox Pride at XYZ. And I believe either that Sunday or the next Friday, I'm in talks with a venue there in Nashville. So I'll be in
Okay,
Nashville.
so I'm about 70 minutes from Nashville. I live in Huntsville, so I'm going to come and see you when you are there. So I'll be
If
looking for
there,
the.
it'll be at Frankie J's, and I love Frankie J's. So
Okay, all right. So
yeah.
look for me. I would
Oh,
definitely be there.
yay!
So we do the recap when we let our guests go, guys. So make sure you stay around for that. But Wendell has the last question,
Okay.
and we'll go from there.
So thank you so much, Vancie Vega. um,
AKA,
Courtney Page Van
Hey,
Wales.
AKA Aunt Vancie.
Aunt Vancy. But thank you so much for accepting this. You know that I have been enamored with you since the first time I saw you perform Salt and Pepper at
Yes.
Incognito. So I am truly, I love you as a human being, but I will say that I am a true fan
Thank
of
you.
the stage entertainer that you are, because it is truly captivating. And y'all, if y'all don't ever see her do Dottie People's gospel, you're missing a treat. Mama does everything. But we always ask our guests to leave us with a nugget. You've given us a plethora.
several.
But if you could think of one thing that you could leave with us and the viewers that we could take with us on our journey daily, what would that be?
I think the biggest advice, the biggest lesson I've learned for myself, and I'm a very high strung emotional person, and I'm an addict, so things get to me easily. I can. The best thing for me and anyone, I think, is don't take it so seriously. These are moments in our lives. They don't define us. So don't set up shop. And remember, there's never good or bad news. There's just news.
Mm.
Never a good or bad day. It's just a day. So I want you to remember that when you're having a struggle or a challenge, first remember Aunt Vancie loves me. And this is just a moment. And within a few seconds, that moment will be gone. Take a deep breath and say to yourself, today deserves a great me.
I love that. Y'all make sure y'all
Thank.
look out
Ooh,
for Vancie Vega. She
there you
will
go.
be the head judge for the 40th anniversary for Miss Gay Texas US of A
Oh
It's my
in Miss
yay!
Texas.
anniversary.
So it's her 25th. Is this your 25th? 25th anniversary, and she will be the head judge for the Miss Gay Texas US of A 40th
Told you
anniversary.
she's old and on the other side of the table.
So Vancy, really quick, I have an inbox question, just really quick from
Let's do it.
someone
I'm
that
here
wants.
all night.
Before we let you go, they said with all of your impersonations, who's your favorite to do and who's your least favorite to do?
That's a good question.
My
That's a good one.
favorite to do is, you would think it would be Dolly, but it's Cher.
Okay.
Because I don't get to do her that often, and I look just like her as well. But
Uh-huh.
my least favorite to do is, I don't have a least favorite.
Okay. Okay.
I don't have a least favorite. I think right now the most challenging is Taylor Dane because I'm still trying to get this some semantics down.
Okay. Got
Yeah.
you. Do you find it longer to get into a particular character than it would be?
Yes, Cher takes the longest to get into.
Okay. Okay.
Courtney Love, seconds.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, we will be stalking your Instagram and Facebook for your dates, y'all. Make sure that you all are going out and seeing Auntie Vancie as she's on tour. Also, she will be at Miss Texas, celebrate her 25th year. So bring her all of your coins.
And
give her the
congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But bring her your
People.
coins and show her the respect for her 25th that she so much deserves. And we
And she will be
appreciate
burning
this.
up the stage. Make sure
Yeah,
you're ready.
we
Honey,
appreciate we appreciate your 2 hours and 10 minutes now.
are you going to break it
we
up into two?
No, it's going to stay on. It's going to
Honey,
stay on. Oh, but if anything we can do for you in the future, a promotion, put a flyer up, anything, come back and you want to talk about something, do not hesitate. You are not part of our family.
I sure
This
will. And thank you very, very much.
this will stay up on Facebook for 30 days and always on YouTube. So if you want to always send someone over to the YouTube channel, it's at Let's Chat with Trinity Black. All the jewels dropped, all the transparency, your emotional side, we were able to see that. Thank you so much for giving us the
You're
raw and
welcome.
uncut.
Thank
My pleasure.
you.
Thank you for having me.
And I will see you
Love
in
you.
2 weeks. I will see you at Miss
Love you.
Texas and everyone else. Y'all have a good night.
Bye,
Thank y'all
everyone.
so much.
For
Bye bye.
joining.
Bye bye. Oh my God. That was so amazing, right?
Yes, it was exhilarating. I love
She,
her
baby, listen,
energy.
she was talking some stuff, and I'm sitting here writing down the jewels that she was dropping.
So transparent, like
Yeah.
so transparent.
We appreciate those interviews that are
Yes.
transparent. The story, she's 54, looks amazing. We don't want to make them cry and stuff, but we do like the vulnerability and the emotional because
Right.
sometimes telling your story is that. And
It's
so everyone,
healing. It's
yeah, it's
healing.
feeling everyone that she's touched with just her situation. I hope that people learn and listen, and anyone that may be going through something, I hope that she was able to help you through that.
Yeah,
So
I think the greatest beauty of her story is there is a other side. There's another side.
there's
Like
another
you
side,
don't have to, and she said she did it several times, right?
right?
So she
Yep.
kept getting back up. She kept getting back up, and this time she's standing strong. And so I think that
Yes.
that is the beauty of it, is that it's never too late.
Never too
Yeah.
late. So I look forward to seeing her at Miss Texas. You know what I
August
mean?
22nd here in
I-
Houston, Texas, Ballroom at Bayou Place.
So thank you all for always tuning in. We definitely appreciate you all. You all are great. Make sure that you are following our YouTube channel at Let's Chat with Trinity Black. We will be here next Tuesday with someone that is a little controversial and in the community, but definitely has in-depth history and is a pillar in so many rights in his own right. So we hope that you tune in when we drop that announcement tomorrow. I am Miss Duval Plus and the
The
newly
people's
crowned
grand
Miss
dame.
People's Grand Madam.
Oh, grand
And
madam,
so
I'm sorry.
Grand Madam, yes. And so we're gonna ride that roller coaster all year long. And again, thank you for all the support,
Y'all
all
get
of the sponsors.
ready.
Listen, all of the sponsorship y'all gave me on that chart before and even after the pageant. Y'all have really these last 2 years when I came back on the scene, y'all have really been just team trend. So whatever I am doing, I don't know. I hope that I can continue to do because y'all have turned totally around when it came to me. So I
So
appreciate y'all.
can
And
you do another pageant right now?
I cannot do anything per my contract because the contract is sickening, honey, and I don't need to do nothing else. But I can't do
Praise
anything for 6 months. However, I just feel, I just feel that with the contract and what they're doing for us, I don't need to do nothing for the whole year.
Absolutely.
They
Absolutely.
are amazing already, and it's only been 2 days, y'all.
And
So
shout out to them again. That was an amazing pageant.
if you are looking for a system that you want to come and either see or try out, come get your P. As y'all can see, my big old, hold on. This big old plaque, honey. Come get your P.
That's a trophy, not a plaque.
Well,
It's
whatever it
really
is, I need you to,
abstract.
I need whatever it is, y'all need to come get it, right? But
Y'all might as well get
thank
ready. Y'all know the people's grand madam ain't gonna play with y'all. So come on.
well listen, it ain't gonna just be me, because Rico and Amaya, y'all already know that
Oh, I
fashion
know
and
they
drag
finna
over
cut
there.
up, but I know
So yeah.
that the people's grand madam is gonna madam us.
But are you gonna do anything?
Huh? Yeah, I'm
Are you
definitely, I'm definitely inspired.
okay? So I got you. But listen, if you're in Atlanta, Georgia on August the 19th, well, let me start over. If you're in South Carolina, come meet the peoples. Columbia, South Carolina, August the 17th, Sunday at the brunch show, the review brunch show with Paris Ferris. That's our first booking as a court. We will be there at the brunch that starts at 12:30. That next night, Monday, I will be at the Stars of the Century with Sasha Sanchez, Naisha, Nicole, and all of them. And then that next night, I'll be at the 90s era Big Girl Rock show with Terry at the Mix. So y'all, all this drag is really a lot because y'all know I used to live my cisgender life.
And then 2 or 3 days later, she'll be traveling to Houston, Texas for Miss Gay Texas US of A's 40th anniversary.
So yes,
Yeah.
so I am on the move. The People's Grand Madam and Miss Duval Plus, which is September 21st, is on the move. So they already trying to put me, they said they want to put me on a scale. I keep saying, y'all can put me on a scale all you want. I'm going to weigh what it says I'm going to weigh. I'm going to weigh the requirement. Just because
You
I
just
look small
carry
does
it
not
better.
mean, just because I look small does not mean I am small. These
But
right
you
here are
carry
at
it
least 50
better.
pounds.
You
It is.
carry it better. Like it
Yeah.
just is what
Thank
it
you.
is.
It is what it is. But anyway, thank you always for supporting me, Wendell, coming out all the way to Charlotte, even though you left the pageant early. But
I had to be at the airport at 3:45 a.m.
I
to go
still
to
you
an in-service at Aldine ISD for 9 a.m. And I
okay.
made it. So thank God.
You
So
did
yes.
make it and you came out. That's all that matters. When I looked out to have my team come on stage for the picture, you were not there. And you
Well,
almost got me
it's AI.
deducted
We can have
points.
T.O. put me in there. We'll have
Anyway, thank y'all so much. And we will see y'all next
T.O.
Tuesday,
put
7
me in there,
p.m.
baby.
Central Standard Time. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.